Township Zoning Board of Appeals. Please call the roll.
Dan Durham.
Here.
Don Walker.
Here.
Mike Flood.
Here.
Tony Cook.
Here.
Diane Danaskas. Quorum is present.
Thank you. Next, we have the minutes of our meeting from May 12th of this month. Does any board members have any concerns, questions, or discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the minutes for the 5/12/25
Flood?
meeting as submitted.
Thank you. I'll offer support. We have a motion on the floor with support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Moving forward. Next, we have two cases tonight under agenda review and approval. Do any board members have any concerns before we start?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Support.
Motion on the floor with support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. We're good to go. First case, AB 2025-06, Michelle L. Hopkins at 695 King Circle. Sidwell 09-10-283-021. Petitioner is seeking one variance from zoning ordinance 78, zoned R3. This has been postponed from the 14th of April meeting. Article 27, Section 27.05H2. The variance request is a 9-yard side yard setback variance from the required 10 feet for a 6-foot fence to be 1 foot from the property line to the southeast/east. Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Michelle Hopkins, like I said, at 695 King Circle, Lake Orion.
Okay, we are familiar with your information. I mean, most of us remember it from before, but don't miss anything. If you, let us know what you'd like to do, why you'd like to do it. If anything has been changed since you were here before,
Just
you have
a
the floor.
better explanation, how's that?
You have the floor, thank you.
Thank you. So the reason, my primary purpose for the fence is to provide and enhance the security of my home and family. The existing conditions, including the proximity of the neighboring homes and activity levels, warrant a taller fence to create reasonable sense of seclusion within my own property. The topographical and environmental factors is my property is in unusual shape. It does sit up on a hill and it has a pretty decent incline, which reduces the height of a standard 4-foot fence. A 6-foot fence compensates for that and ensures uniform privacy and visual screening. The neighboring properties and consistency, several homes in the surrounding area have 6-foot fences, making this request consistent with the characteristics of the neighborhood. I have communicated with adjacent property owners and they are in support of it, which I believe reflects the community acceptance, and you should have received a letter or an email or something, okay, from Terry. The proposed fence will construct using wood, neutral colors. It'll be designed to blend with the environment, nothing crazy that'll look weird. It will not obstruct visibility for traffic or pedestrians, nor will it impair the enjoyment or adjacent properties. It's completely away from any roads, anything like that. Due to the nature of my lot and intended use of pet containment, play areas for our grandkids and kids, a 6-foot fence is practically necessary. Limiting the height to 4 foot would significantly reduce effectiveness and create a hardship that would not be self-imposed by instead based on property layout and surrounding conditions. Another example of practical difficulty is about 2/3 of the distance of the fence. I do not have 10 feet to give. The house is there, our well is there, and that, like I said, takes up about a good 2/3 of the distance of the fence.
Okay. Tell us, if you would, please, about your relationship with your neighbor.
Well, with all due respect, I mean, this is pretty much just about, our willingness to get a variance.
Okay.
Really we haven't had a relationship and we don't have a relationship.
Let me interrupt you for just a minute. You're exactly right. I like that idea. I like where you're coming from. That takes all of this stuff that we can't be concerned with and sets it over here.
Okay.
And keeps the things that we can be concerned with right front and center. So you're exactly right. That was well put.
Thank you.
Board members.
There's a fence there now, is that correct?
Not on that side, the other side of our property, there's a fence.
I mean, isn't there a chain link fence?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, correct. Yes.
Okay. And is it your intention to leave that chain link fence in?
Yes, sir.
You don't have to call me sir, just my kids have to do that.
Sorry.
Who's going to take care of weeds and things in between the chain link fence and this new fence if it's granted to you?
I do it on the other side, so I would take care of it on this side as well. The other side has a chain link, and then we have a wood privacy fence that sits about a foot away. And I get up on a ladder, I get down in there and pull all the weeds out, and we put weed kill down in there. So the other neighbor, you know, she's very happy with what we do and how we take care of it, so
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, there's a letter in our packet that may.
Okay. I can go ahead and read that in at this time. Letter from Terry Labruzzi, lives at 688 King Circle. I live directly across the street from this property. I have no concerns whatsoever about the fence request. I do not feel it would negatively affect the surrounding properties or cause any sightline issues for traffic. If you need this in a letter or need me to attend a meeting, I'll be happy to do so. Otherwise, please accept this as my statement that I do not oppose Michelle Hopkins' request. Thoughts? All the board's rolling this over. The other young lady out there, do you want to use your 3 minutes, or you're okay? Okay, very good. Mr. Cook.
Ms. Hopkins, I was just listening to you a little bit about the two-thirds of the distance, if you will.
Yes.
And the well involvement. Tell me a little bit about, when you talked about the well itself and being that much of an area.
We would have to be putting like posts in way too close to where the well's at. And I personally don't want to do that. I know there's an old septic down in there too, so, because they found that when they redid the well. So, no, they did not.
And you are currently on municipal drainage? You don't have a.
Sewage, yes, sewage. Yep. Well, and then, yeah, sewage.
Green.
Oh, that might be helpful.
See the gentleman that did what he was
Oh,
referring to.
Getting the high sign from the booth.
We need to repeat that.
Nah, I think we're probably okay.
Question for the applicant.
Mr. Flood,
Ms. Hopkins?
Yes.
I'm looking at the photos that were submitted. And I'm looking at that first photo. And I see there's a van parked there in a driveway.
Yes, okay.
That 6-foot vinyl panel fence on, when I'm looking at it, on the other side of that van, is that
Yeah.
on your property or on your neighbor's property?
On the neighbor on the other side of my neighbor. So,
That's their fence,
yeah, that's, yeah,
their privacy fence.
correct,
Okay.
yes.
So the fence the chain link I'm looking at now, that is your property line right there.
Correct.
And that's your neighbor's deck right there, right there.
The patio,
Patio, yeah.
yeah, yep. And there is still a chain link on the other side as well, where the vinyl fence is.
Yeah, I can see that in the photo here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Sometimes a picture's worth 1,000 words, right?
Sorry, if it's the one that my dog was in, I apologize. And you want to kind of, I don't know if you see that too, that kind of shows between the houses and the narrowness of it. And the fence will not go past the front of the houses. It'll stay, so it won't be really visible from King Circle at all.
Just, so who owns that chain link fence that you just pointed out?
Got me, it was there when when we bought the house, and so, just like the other side, I'm not sure.
So it's right on the lot line?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, that brings up a question to me. If you're not sure whose fence that is, are you sure that you know where your property line is?
Yeah, they're marked. We had it surveyed. I have the,
Is that fence on the inside of your lot markings or on the
a
outside?
little bit on the inside, yes, sir.
So the idea could be that it probably belongs to your property?
Probably.
Okay, thank you.
The other side's the same way, where they had their property surveyed, it's still on our side, a little more on our side than it is theirs. So kind of goes consistent on both sides.
Mr. Chairman, I also noticed that our fire marshal has no concern with this application.
Thank you.
If you get that in for the record.
Thank you. Mrs. Hopkins, or Miss Hopkins, I'm going to be honest with you. I heard what you've said tonight, and I've had the information, and I've seen the property. And maybe I'm just sounding obtuse, but for me, one vote, I can't see why you need what you need. I can't see it. I can see that you want it, and you've made a case why you would like to have it. All of that, I understand. Personally, I don't see it. Can you help me?
Basically for privacy and security of my own home. I guess I kind of believe as a citizen, I have a right to privacy. We are very private people, we always have been. That's why the fence on the other side was approved. And we want our grandson out there to be able to play and not have to worry about her dogs or any other dogs or any other, we're just very private people.
I believe most people value privacy as much as you do. I know I do. I suspect the members of the board do. But what I don't feel the need to do is wall off the sides of my property. Now, I've got a more traditionally shaped piece of property than you do. Right. I'll admit to that right out of the gate. But I don't see it. And I'm only one vote.
Right. I mean, to be honest with you, I've never lived in a home without privacy fences all the way around me. It's just the way I've been. I like my privacy, I like my security. It's not that we're doing anything wrong, I just, I like to be in my own little area. Maybe that has to do with 10 years of law enforcement, and I just want to, be in my little area. I don't know. But I value the security of a privacy fence. It's a little quieter. It reduces a lot of the surrounding noise. We've, noticed that on the other side. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Sure.
Mr. Walker.
How long have you lived in the house?
Almost 10 years.
So you didn't have these privacy concerns for the last 10 years?
We have, but we've had some other financial things come up. We had to have a new well put in, which was about 15 grand. Unfortunately, we're not flowing with money, so we've had some other things we've had to do to the house that were priority. And we're now to the point where, this is our priority and something we would like to be able to do.
I'm going to be as candid as I know how to be. When you were here the last time, your presentation was 180 degrees different than it is today.
Okay?
Your presentation, I think, actually centered on, and it's my but I'm old and I might not remember things exactly right. The privacy and the neighbor and the dog seemed to be the prime thrust of your argument as a whole. Not just your argument, but as the largest part of your argument. Today you have come, obviously you've done some research, you've quoted sections of the ordinance that talks about what you need to have or say, but I'm not convinced that what you're saying today is the real reason why you're here, although I'm not a mind reader and I'm not saying anything like that. But it's funny to me that the argument has changed so much since last time you were here.
Not that it changed, it was, I probably should have never brought up that information, and it got taken away by everybody asking questions about her. And I tried over and over and over again, emphasizing on my practical difficulties of the property last time, but I think everybody's focus went the wrong direction in that last meeting. And I learned that, this isn't about anything but me being here, hopefully getting approved for a variance. I wanted to come to you this time because I know it's our last opportunity and be more straightforward and let you know I did do my research. It's not about her. It's not about her at all. I should have never have mentioned that the first time, and I realized that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Like I said, I just want to add, this is something we have been wanting for years. It's not new. My approach is new, and I didn't want to bring up the personal issues because it honestly has nothing to do with it.
Thoughts from the board? I say that because I'm coming up dry. I've got nothing to say. I've said it all.
Me too.
Mr. Naskis, you got anything?
Well, my question is, in many of the lots in your area and in Lake Orion overall, because of the unusual shape and of them, many of the houses are so close to their property line that they could never adhere to the setback for a fence. So they're prevented from having the privacy fence because there's no way that they can, through no fault of their own, because their houses are way too close to the property line. You can't go through your house with the so I don't know what the answer to that is. I'm just acknowledging that I understand the difficulty of that.
Thank you.
I just want to add too that, the fact that we have privacy fence on the other side does kind of show you, we just want our privacy. It has nothing to do with either neighbor on either side. That, like I said, it was all financial in the last several years. It has nothing to do with any of our neighbors.
Understood, and as I mentioned earlier, I believe one man, one vote, that's exactly the approach that you should take. So I think you're coming from exactly the point on the field where you should be.
Thank you.
I don't know that I recognize everyone, so I'll ask, is there anybody in the audience who came specifically to speak to this tonight? Seeing none, thank you.
Ms. Hopkins,
Yes, sir.
what's the difference between your, You won't be
That's just
penalized for that.
Upbringing, sorry.
I understand. I enjoy putting fear into my children too, so, no, I'm just kidding. What's the distance between, how many feet between your house and the house next door?
Shoot, if I had to guess, probably 20,
Your best estimate, yeah.
20,
How many?
maybe 20, if not less. I mean, both of us on that are, really close to the property line.
Maybe the distance is 20 feet, maybe 10, you're 10 feet from the property line and your neighbor's 10 feet from, is an estimate.
Well, we don't have 10 feet because I measured it, so it's got to be a little askew. I mean, and I'm just throwing a number out, it might not be even 20 feet. I mean, we're both probably 5 to 6 feet away from the fence, if that helps any.
To the chair, the reason I asked that question is that I'm looking for maybe a compromise. Is that a possibility here somehow, or rather than?
What are you thinking?
Well, I'm not thinking it, I'm just thinking the word, just that word is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm not thinking specifics.
Something came to my mind while I was listening to Mr. Walker there. A privacy fence is a wood slab or something similar that goes into the ground. Had you thought at all that some lovely 6-foot arborvitaes side by side up and down the row would accomplish the same thing?
We have tried that numerous times, and they keep dying on us. We already have some, that's why we don't need or want the fence the whole distance of that side. There are some there that are staying there. And I did get a cost estimate on it. We would need, it was like 28 full-grown ones to make a difference, and it was astronomical.
Well, are you looking to make an immediate difference or a watch it come in fairly quickly difference? I know it's disheartening. You look at this and you wonder if you've got enough time to live for it to grow in and do what you want it to do. I understand that. But maybe not the kind they have to lift in with trucks, but something a little bit bigger?
It would still be, I mean, I'm not even talking the size that we have now, like 6-foot ones was in the thousands of dollars to have about 28 to 30 of them put in. The fence is not costing us that much.
So that is not an option in your mind?
Financially, no, sir, it's not.
Okay.
We did think about it, and I did get quotes. That was before we even came here. I did think, that was my first thought is, can we do it this way?
You could leave your 4-foot in and back it up with those and have them come up alongside the 4-foot? And I don't know.
I mean, that's just costing us double, then.
Well, your 4-foot's already there, your chain link.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant putting in a,
No, I wouldn't. You're right. Paid twice for the same piece of real estate. Because I've got a row of 30-footers down my driveway. It's 200 feet to the road, and there could be a tank in the next yard. I'd never know it. I can't even get a lawnmower through them. They're so thick.
if it was a financial option, like I said, we did look into it. We did get pricing from different landscapers in the area.
Well,
I mean, it was a thought already.
well, you've looked into it.
I did.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Before even getting a quote on a fence, that's the first thing I looked into.
Hold that for just 1 second. Thank you. You heard Mr. Walker bandying about the idea of a compromise. Is there anything you can do other than what you have brought to us that will accomplish kind of what you want to do? Maybe get you part of the way and get 1 or 2 board members that might be hung up the other part of the way?
I've also
And
kind of
only you
thought
can
about
know
that
that.
too.
Only you can know.
I mean, we both have looked, gone over it. But unfortunately, the layout of our property, the incline of our property, it would not look good. You're looking, we have some 4 feet here, some 6 feet here, and then you're gonna be all different sizes, and it just would not look pretty. And if I'm gonna do it, I'd like it to look pretty, as well as serve its purpose.
Understood.
And we did consider whatever we could, we looked at it and looked at it. And unfortunately, this is for aesthetics and practicality, the best option.
Okay, thank you. To the board members, do we have any other questions or discussions before Mrs. Danaskis moves forward with the motion? Nothing down the line there? Mrs. Danaskis, please.
In the matter of ZBA case AB 2025-06, Michelle Hopkins, 695 King Circle, Sidwell, 09-10-283-021. I move that the petitioner's request for one variance from zoning ordinance number 78, zoned R3, Article 27, Section 27.05, H2. 1, a 9-foot side yard setback variance from the required 10 feet for a 6-foot fence to be 1 foot from the property line to the southeast east. Be granted for the application date stamped received March 11, 2025, because the petitioner did demonstrate that the following standards for variances have been met in this case, and that they set forth facts which show that in this case, the petitioner does show the following practical difficulty. The house is less than 10 feet from the property line, and also the well is placed in such a way that both of these factors prevent adherence to the setback requirement. Following are exceptional, extraordinary circumstances or conditions applicable to the property involved that do not generally apply to other properties in the same area. This is a hilly lot. By placing the 6-foot fence, it will provide greater security without obstructing the view. It will also protect their privacy. The variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right possessed by others in the same area and zone, or a smaller variance would be. Construction of this fence will offer, again, security, and the fact that they have young grandchildren visiting. This also increases the desire to have a secure area for those children to play in. The grant of the variance or modifications will not be materially detrimental to the public welfare or materially injurious to the property or to improvements in such zone or district in which the property is located. The variance was not self-created. That concludes my motion.
I will second the motion in order to get this resolved one way or the other. Also, if the motion maker would consider amending the motion to include that the fence cannot go beyond the foundation of the front of the house and not exceed.
And in fact, sir, I'll just add to you, we're not going to go past the front of her house, which is further back than ours.
I will make that it cannot go further back than the front of the neighbor's house next door, which is set back even further than the front of her house.
Correct.
Am I hearing that correctly? Okay.
Yes, I accept that amendment.
Mr. Cook?
Well, you believe that chain link is on your property, correct?
I would have to lead to yes, since is leaning more towards on our, put more towards on our
Based
property.
upon understanding that, are you going to remove that fence?
No. Extra cost. Like I said, we left it on the other side. It's worked out just fine. It's maintained. And that, we try to do our best to maintain our yard anyways, regardless, so.
All set? Mr. Cook?
Yes.
We have a motion on the floor by Mrs. Danaskis with support and an alteration, which was accepted by Mr. Flood. Do we have anything additional by the board members? Ms. Walker? Nothing from me. Please call the roll.
Mike Flood?
Yes.
Diane Danaskis, yes. John Walker?
No.
Tony Cook?
No.
Dan Durham?
No? I'm sorry, your request has been denied.
Okay.
Next up, we have case AB 2025-21, Case AB 2521, David Briggs, 4 General Motors at 4555 Giddings Road. Sidwell's 09-34-200-006 and 09-34-400-011. Petitioner is seeking one variance from zoning ordinance 78, zoned IC. Article 19, Section 19.04, variance granted from this section in 2024 for current height of 125 feet, 7.5 inches. They're looking for a variance of 2 to 2.5 feet, height variance above the maximum height of 125 feet, 7.5 inches, for a building to be 127 feet, 10 inches tall. Introduce yourself, please, and tell us what happened.
Oh, and thank you for having us today. Representing the project are myself, I'm Gary Jensen, I'm a design manager for Walbridge. In the audience are Ben Rowe, project manager with Gafari on the project, and Ken Fryer with GM, the ICC, their facilities organization. Okay, and what happened is, despite best efforts a year or so ago to verify with the rack manufacturer and work out all the details, again, this is a ASRS, Automated Storage and Retrieval System. So it's basically, we're putting a skin on a series of racks that have the robots moving up and down, doing the warehousing of parts, if you will. Despite our best efforts to get everything coordinated, as we were doing the final BIM coordination last month, it turns out the racks grew in height mainly due to roof slopes probably not being calculated correct originally. So we're coming in basically 2 feet higher than we had understood a year ago. Essentially, it's the rack design has changed.
With all respect, are you coming in for exactly what you think you need, or are you allowing?
I put 3 inches in this time because of that. We rechecked many times with the rack manufacturer and the ASRS system installer, this last number like before, but now we actually have the final rack drawings to go with it.
A little give is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If we need more insulation, whatever, we can cover it.
My grandfather used to say, measure twice, cut once.
Yep.
I never adhered to that myself. Ended up measuring once and cutting more than once.
So I always buy more lumber,
Right?
not at today's prices. I find the practical difficulty, it's not different than what they originally came for for their height variance. There might be some cases where we've had some developers come in and say, hey, our guys we're off 1 foot on our foundation, we need to correct that, you know. I look at it as common sense. That's my thing.
Thank you. Mr. Maskis, Mr. Cook?
Is the fire marshal pleased with this, or what was, didn't I read something from the fire
Yes.
marshal?
He resubmitted his review from last.
Oh, he resubmitted? Okay.
From last time.
Maybe nobody shared that information. Nobody tells me anything, so,
Well, if he was good last
The-
time, he'll still be.
He's good, yeah.
all right.
For historical fact, I'm looking at our minutes that we approved this back on December or January.
January 22nd last year.
I see the motion and everything there that was done.
So basically, you're saying the manufacturer specs for the shelves are different than when you originally,
The racks themselves.
Okay.
So that's what we put the skin on ultimately.
and they
So the racks are coming in at just over 2 feet taller.
From the manufacturer.
Right.
Yeah.
The final rack design fabrication. And I do have some exhibits if it would help, just to illustrate where we're at on the site or anything else, if that's needed. We're about 1,300 feet from the road's edge, Brown Road. It's about 1,000 foot deeper into the site than the current ASRS that was installed at Battery.
We took a plant tour, the township board and some of our building officials and stuff. We We did that back in April. Got our steps in.
Yeah, you get a lot of steps in that plant, yes.
Just phenomenal how much that plant has changed, how much bigger it is.
We added about a little over 3 million square feet, and then there was also the paint plant added at over 1 million square feet.
About the request, anybody have any further for this gentleman? Ms. Walker? It sounds like fairly elementary stuff to me, as Mr. Floyd had brought up. You're not asking to make any significant changes, you're just asking to do what you said.
Correct.
The way you laid it out is pretty much textbook practical difficulty. It's good, or Cook, excuse me.
So this is just a curiosity question in terms, we're talking about the height, but what length does that extend over?
The maximum height's only at the peak, so it's 300 feet down the center essentially of the ASRS. But it's surrounded by a parapet that's at max a few inches higher than the peak. So this is about maybe 80 feet and a little farther south than the paint stacks that are 125 feet, and about 400 feet south of the powerhouse stack, which if I recall is 230 feet.
These racks now, is that to do with that automatic stacking retrieval system?
Correct.
Yeah, I thought that's.
So if you saw the one in the battery edition, it's the same sister company to that same company is providing the same robots doing the motion, and they basically, robot cranes go up and down the aisles and move the product into the racks. And the racks are ultimately based on the type of product that they're housed. This one happens to be for the general assembly function.
I think if I'm correct, or correct me, that I think that's where we had to put the fire suppression units all through that whole system
Yes.
there? Yeah.
And similarly, we have them in the racks of the GAISRS as well.
They really showed us that, because that was quite a deal with the fire marshal and getting that
Yeah.
put in there. Yeah.
And we're hoping to learn and make it easier to do the sign-off and inspection with the GAISRS.
I'm glad we had that tour, that way we got a first-hand look at that.
Mr. Naskis?
There are no more comments or questions. I'm prepared to make a motion.
Mr. Chair, can you please speak into the microphone when you're making it? Our transcript-
I'm sorry. There you go. Okay, thank you. If you'd like.
Please.
In the matter of ZBA, case AB 2025-21, David Briggs, General Motors, 4555 Giddings Road, Sidwell 0934200006, and Sidwell 0934400011. I move that the petitioner's request for one variance from zoning ordinance 78 zoned 1C, or excuse me, IC, Article 19, Section 19.04, variance granted from this section in 2024 for current height of 125 feet, 7.5 inches. 1, a 2.5-inch height variance above the maximum height of 125 feet, 7.5 inches for a building to be 127 feet, 10 inches tall, be granted for plans date stamped received April 28, 2025, because the petitioner did demonstrate that the following standards for variances have been met in this case, and that they set forth facts which show that in this case, the petitioner shows a practical difficulty because the manufacturer's rack design changed, and that meant that the dimensions changed, requiring the height increase. The following are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applicable to the property involved that do not generally apply to other properties in the same area. General Motors did not have any control over the changes made to the racks, and therefore they need this variance to accommodate the racks. The variances are necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right possessed by other properties in the same vicinity. This is a storage necessity for for the aerobic stacking and retrieval by cranes. The granting of the variance will not be material detrimental to the public welfare or materially injurious to the property or improvements in such zone or district in which the property is located, and the variance was not self-created.
Support.
Mr. Naskis, just a note, when you were reading the request, instead of saying 2.5 feet, you said 2.5 inches. So if we could.
Yes, thank you, I'm
Yes,
sorry. Yes.
Actually,
2 foot, 2.5 inch.
The difference should be 2 feet, 2.5 inches.
Half inches, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Amend my support.
We have a motion on the floor by Mrs. Danaskis with second by Mr. Flood and amendments that have been accepted by Mr. Cook and Mr. Flood. Do we have anything additional by the remainder of the board? Mr. Walker? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Tony Cook,
Yes.
Diane Danaskis, yes. Mike Flood,
Yes.
Don Walker,
Yes.
Dan Durham.
Yes. Motion granted. Good luck, gentlemen.
Appreciate
Don't
it.
come back anymore.
I'll try not to come back for a while.
It's just really fun.
No commitment.
Last week it was not about heights, and this week it is.
Right,
So
something different every time.
Next up, we have public comment, and I don't see any public communications. Anyone? Mr. Flood?
I look back at my board docket. We have a new alternate replacing Tony Kirby. Alex Torrigan. I think I'm pretty close on that. Torrigan?
Okay.
Yeah. Chris said he's a new resident to the community and wanted to get involved, so we'll welcome Alex aboard.
Thank you. Ms. Walker, you have anything?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cook?
I just wanted to talk about our demo area for the trees, for the French rose. If we could get that area so that we can plant it, so when we get these requests for the 6-foot fences, we can point them to a location where they could look at different varieties of species in order to see what could happen along with the timeline, whether it's 3 to 5 years you can be here. I think that would help our citizens a lot when they come in and we've got these fence requests.
To add to that, this is exactly the situation that we have been, oh yeah, better get up close. To add to that, this is exactly this type of situation that we have been looking towards, having an alternative to give to people. I don't see it as huge in any way that it wouldn't be financially or any other way too unmanageable, I wouldn't think. But this is what this is what the fuss is about. This is what we were hoping for. Anybody else, anything additional?
No, but
Ms. Walker?
before we beat ourselves up too badly, I didn't think the applicant was in a compromising mood in any way, shape, or form.
It didn't appear so.
I think if we had provided those trees for free, I'm thinking she probably wouldn't have taken them.
You might be right. You might be right. Member comments, one more run, anybody? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Support? We're done. Oh, yes, all in favor? Aye.